everybody, welcome to my channel for new battle report. I was asked by Red Metal Zero to play a practice game. He's following my channel, so hello to you. Thanks a lot for asking me to play a game. We had a practice game. He's playing KOE, which is interesting for me because I wanted to try out a new list and see how it can feature against KOE, which is often a complicated matchup for Ogre. The list that I tried was the following: Master Thaumaturgy and Apprentice Shamanism, a Great Khan, Khan BSB with Cult Leader. Then I had 10 Bruisers, 5 Tigers, 3 Tribesmen in Core, 2 units of Tusker Cav, 1 other Lone Tiger, 6 Bombardier and a Slave Giant. So I wanted to keep a little bit of range damage to apply pressure on some unit or also to clean chaff. And then the 2 big Tusker block that can charge far away, could be really dangerous from distance. Have a couple of wounds. They are not so small, so they can deal some damage and also receive some before they died. So I wanted to see how that goes. And KOE, he played the following list, which is not something typical for me, but we might see some of these units a bit more since the update. So he's playing a Damsel General on Heraldic Steed, which has a very good mobility. His Master Divination, can fly. Then he has a Damsel on a Phase Steed, Adept Shamanism. I think that's something we'll see quite a lot. It's quite cheap, it's decent in combat, breast weapon and so on. Really like that one. Then he has a Lord BSB with Mortal Reminder and Generosity, which is giving the rank and file unit Bastard Sword and Weapon Master, which is nice. I felt it's quite good for the points that he paid, so another quite cheap character. And then he has an even cheaper character, which is the Folk Hero on Heraldic Steed with Pad Weapon, Earth's Art, Sainted Castle. So he's doing a couple of Strength 5 AP2 attack on a Vanguarding Flying Steed that has, as you can see, Fly 10, March 14, I guess, Art Target 1. So really decent for the cheap price. Then in Core, he had 15 Feudal Knight, 8 Ordo Sergeant, 12 Archer that can put a wall on the map, 11 Resplendent in Special with the Oriflamme Banner, really strong unit on the charge, 2 cheap unit of Hedge Knight. These ones, it was the first time that I played against Hedge Knight, and I didn't expect them to be so powerful. I mean, the fact that they are light troop, so they move really well on the side, which is often a weakness for KOE. And they are really good on the charge. I mean, 2 attacks, Strength 5, Battle Focus, Hatred, a trip arm save. Wow, that's crazy good for the cheap price. So I was really positively surprised by this unit. Then he had a Fey Knight and 2 units of Naiad that are like heavy chaff. They can scout, move 12, light troop. They have grinds. They are quite resilient with Def 4 and ward save. Yeah, interesting choices in the list. Here you have the spell selection of both players. We played all the ground on refused flanks. We just rolled randomly, and it's funny because it's the most aggressive combination, which is going to be interesting because I think for a training game it's perfect to play like that, especially in the type of training that I was looking for. So really interesting. This will be an excellent test for my list. Unusual KOE list with a lot of threats. His Naiad as a heavy chaff can be dangerous, especially in turn 1. If he can start, he could scout March 12 and be in front of me and potentially push behind them, so that could be dangerous. Definitely I would be looking to start if I can choose. Resplendent could be the unit that my Death Star has to fear the most. I think that makes sense. He has so many attacks with high strengths. I guess, again, against the Feudal, I should be doing fine because I have a lot of bodies. I have 10 Bruisers plus 4 character. So that's a lot of ranks, a lot of bodies. I should be fine. And then striking back with Strength 6 attack. So I should be okay. But definitely Resplendent are more dangerous for me. Estimation, slightly negative. Deployment, so he wandered for side and decided to give me a side with an impassable that is kind of annoying because is slightly on my strong flank but close to the middle, which is always annoying when you play all the ground. And then obviously I decided to drop for first turn, so I put my Death Star with all character in front of the middle, and close to that a cheap scoring unit, 3 tribesmen. On the other side I put my Tigers, so to have available chaff around the middle of the map. Then on my strong flank, I put the Giant, 4 Tuskers and the Bombardier. And on my weak flank, I put 4 Tuskers to try to zone him out, and my Tiger all the way to the back to block his scout from starting in my backline, basically. He counter-deployed the followingly, so he puts Hedge Knights. He is the multi-wound guy against the Giant, which makes sense. Naiads, Archer, they place their wall that way, which I found it's quite strong to be able to put a wall. Feudal with the BSB. He has his Ordo Sergeant with the Master. He's the Adept Shamanism, another unit of Naiads. The Resplendent Boss with Discipline Banner, and here all the way back his Folk Hero. I completely missed, by the way, that the Folk Hero can Vanguard, which I found is really strong. I mean, you can Vanguard and then you have fly 10, 14. It's amazing mobility. So we'll see how that goes. Turn 1. I have to adjust my left flank because he was able to escape my line of sight, so I want to make sure that he cannot do that next round. So I just back up slightly to respect the Resplendent and just continue to zone. I will be trying to zone as many units as possible down the map in his strong flank. Then I move slightly forward with this unit just to tempt him to charge me. I can flee through the impassable if I need to. Those guys move sideways. Those guys move out of arc of the Edge Knight, but still with shot ability against those Archer. I had no good target turn 1, and then the Giant moves slightly sideways just to protect the flank of the Tuskers in case he wants to push. And here I found a good spot with the Tuskers where I'm, I guess, too far, not out of arc, I guess, just too far from the Feudal or out of arc. I'm not sure about that, but definitely he couldn't see me with both his Cowboy plus the Edge Knight, which I felt is a good spot to be and still be able to threaten his flank. And I moved the dog up top to have some chaff available at each part of the map, so to say. On Magic Phase, I cast a Swarm of Insect on this Damsel that I had just a slight line of sight right here. He passes 2 armor or ward saves, so he had a 6-up 4-up and suffers no wound. Then I got Hand of Heaven on the Archer, but it spelled that one, and then with 3 dice against 4 for the Wrath of God, I just failed the cast. Shooting, I just kill 1 Archer, and then it's his turn 1. I decided to tempt me to charge with the Giant, which I found interesting. So I just push here and just threaten me and bait me to charge. If I charge, I think I have strength 5, 4 attack, multi-wound 2 on 3-up, 4-up. So I could win on the charge, I could also lose. And if I lose, he has a free pivot. So it's quite interesting risk that he took here. The Edge Knight just turned around, those guys went on the wall, just move around with most of the unit, and the Naiads push forward. He moved this lone guy all the way to the back, basically, and move forward as well with the Phase T to start threatening my chaff, for example. In the Magic Phase, he cast Swarm of Insect on an eye roll on my dogs, and I was a bit afraid that I might suffer too many wounds too soon, especially in combination with the Archer that didn't move. And I decided to dispel it. Problem was, I didn't think too much about Hereditary or Reason Token that are really strong. And I guess I should have instead just dispelled Hereditary. With shooting, with 11 shots, he managed to do 5 wounds to the dog, which was kind of unexpected. So I'm happy that I didn't let through Swarm of Insect, but still I think the right play was to dispel Hereditary and not Swarm of Insect. My turn 2. So I start to push forward, so I push with a small unit. I'm chaffing this unit, basically cannot charge my Death Star. I has a long overrun, and basically I gave him like long charge on the Edge Knight. Here I turn around, move slightly backwards, again long charge for them, middle charge for them, impossible for the Resplendent, I guess. Those guys move sideways, bombarded. I was able here to find some nice solutions, so basically everybody move out of arc except the dog that failed the march check, just move 8. And basically I'm looking at him, I'm in short range with the Bombardier, the Giant's also looking at him, and I just protected the flank of the Tusker in case the Edge Knight wants to move here, take a spot here. I protected them with the Giant, so I found the march rate 16 light troop is really strong to come here, would be an option. He could obviously also come here, but I felt I have time to manage that. I can turn around with Bombardier, shoot in short range. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. And then the Tuskers found a nice spot too wide to threaten the flank. Nothing can charge me. and I'm in a good spot to force him to chaff me, basically. In the magic phase, I got big End of Heaven on the Damsel, this one, and this time he managed to do 3 4-up ward saves, so nothing still. I failed Swarm of Insect on 2 dice, and I failed Wrath of God. So 2 magic phase, 0 wound. Shooting on short range with those guys, I managed to do 3 wounds out of 4, so he's still alive, but only with 1 wound, which is good news for me. We move to his turn 2, and I'm going to use multiple screenshots because it's quite kind of interesting what he did. So first of all, he attempted, here in the middle maybe, he wanted to clean my chaff, but in order to do that, he needed to find a way to block this unit. What he decided to do is to charge them, which is a charge on a 9 Swift Ride into my Death Star, and basically thinking that he will do enough damage to make sure that even if I go back, I shouldn't kill everybody. So he puts 5-up ward save on them. So I shouldn't kill everybody, and then I should be stuck, and it's kind of a heavy chaff. Basically, it's giving me the unit in 2 rounds, more or less, against some of my bodies and me being stuck, so me being chaff, which is interesting. But I ask myself, with this move, in case he failed that charge, can this lone mage find a way, depending on the failed charge, can he really, with 14, chaff this unit? I'm not sure 100% that he could chaff me in case he failed that charge. So I was surprised by that. And then the bottom surprised me even more because he decided to take a charge with both the Naiads and the Flying Guy. So Naiads are on the 7 and the Flying Guy, Folk Hero, is on the 10 Swift Ride. Here I felt this could be a huge risk because basically even if he goes with both, I felt the Tusker with 5 Resilience 5 shouldn't suffer too much from the grinds, and even the hero, if he doesn't make it, basically if he comes alone with the Naiad, I think I have a free pivot. There was no way 8 Naiads can hold to 4 Tuskers. So I felt that's already the first risk, and if he comes alone with the character, it's basically more or less the same problem. They should be free from combat at the end of the round. If he comes with both, I still think I have decent chance of winning combat. So I was a bit surprised by these charges, these 3 charges. So I told myself in the head, somebody's going to get surprised at the end of the round. We will see who. He made all these charges, so 9 Swift Ride on the Edge Knight, 7 on Naiad, and 10 Swift Ride on the Flying Guy. So it's going to be interesting. Then he pushes his mage to use Breast Weapon on my dogs, which makes sense. He moved forward with the Resplendent. And here again, I saw an opportunity. In case I win this combat and he breaks, I can just pivot and charge him in the flank. And then he's basically more or less forced to flee because it's not so far away. And what can he do? So I felt here I could have potentially an opening. So definitely my priority was to dispel some buffs on this combat. This one, it's sticking me, it's causing me problems. But I felt if I still have chaff available to chaff them, I can face the feudals, so I should be okay. He uses Naiad to chaff me, position the guys to the flank to countercharge me, and then he uses the lone guy. He failed 2 March check, first of all, worth mentioning, because of the giant. -1 on both, non-rerollable, so he failed those 2. I think it was 7 and 8 or 7, I don't know. And he decided to use him to chaff me. I think he could have potentially just angled a bit differently to avoid an overrun into them. I think that was probably doable, I guess so. So I felt he could have chaffed differently to avoid the overrun, basically. And here I just charged my chaff. In the magic phase, I debated whether or not I should use the Binding Scroll. We will see if I made the right decision. I debated and decided against using it. Basically, his Mage of Divination is here. Can cast Reroll to Hit, Distracting on this unit, Hereditary as well, but it's not doesn't matter for this round of combat, and also +2 weapon skill, but all of that in this combat. And in this combat, he can only cast +1 strength. That's it. So I felt I should be okay if I dispel the only buff on this unit. Then this unit, no matter what, I might be stuck this round and free next round. So I don't think it matters so much. I think the likelihood that I kill everybody under 5-up ward save with not a lot of attack is not so likely. And then if only one guy is remaining, I think he's going to do more wounds, so he's going to stick. So I felt that's how I should play it, which is what I did. I dispel +1 strength on the Naiad, obviously. Then he got distracting on the Edge Knight. He got also a Swarm of Insect on my dog. Did 4 wounds. I decided not to use Leadership of General and BSB to flee away from his breast weapon. So I just fled away. And then he got some shooting. Yeah, breast weapon here did 1 wound to my giant, which didn't matter so much. And then we go into close combat. So we will see what happened. On the bottom here, he's going before me. So here I put all the stats because I think it's quite interesting to analyze. So the Naiad going first did high roll, did 4 wounds to my Tuskers, which is not something I expected. So he's wounding me on 6 up with 12 grinds, and then I have a 6 up armor save. So he did 4 wounds. The character did kind of expected, a bit higher than the middle value, but still okay. He did 3 wounds. So he did a total of 7 wounds, meaning I only have 2 Tuskers left. One striking at the Naiad, that did 2 wounds as expected between the stomps and the attack on top. And the other one striking at the character guy did 1 wound. So I did 3 wounds against his 7. He had a charge, so I'm losing by 5. So I have like a 3 rollable, which I fail and he run me down. Yeah, not something I expected. What I expected, obviously, is that I have at least 3 Tuskers left. I had no champion in this unit, which was already an issue to challenge him and like dispatch damage. But basically, if I had at least 2 remaining, you can just multiply this chart here another time. So just by 2, basically. Meaning I still have a very decent chance of at least tying combat. If you just take away 2 wounds here and you put another one like that, then I should be winning it, more or less. I should be winning it, I guess. So all of that together, was a big blow for me. I still felt it was okay for me to allow these charges. I could have potentially used the binding, but still had no buff here, so it wouldn't have mattered at all. I just felt, here, that was really a turn of event that I didn't really expect, and I felt the risk is maybe bigger than expected by taking those charges, because like I said, if I win combat and he broke with these 2 units, I can just pivot, charge them, and he has to flee, because if he doesn't, that's huge in the game. And the other combat, I just put my stat, but basically he did 12 wounds. He has like 18 attacks on 3+, battle focus, reroll to hit, and wounding on 4, because I had +1 resilience, I guess. Did I? I didn't. No, on 3 up. So on 3 up rollable, battle focus, and 3 up. And he did 12 wounds, which makes sense. I went back, I just killed 3, as you can see, which is also somehow expected because of distracting, and then ward save 5 up, so he was still here. And here just cleaned my chaff. So all of a sudden, I'm in big trouble. My turn 3, what I did, I charged with Giant against this guy with a overrun on a 6. I didn't want to charge here the chaff because I was afraid, first of all, I cannot chaff this unit. And then even if I fail the overrun, he can just catch me with them, so it's way too dangerous. I find a way to turn around with the musician, move here, turn around, and still be in a decent spot, giving him a charge on 11 only, which was okay. Here we're stuck in combat. Here I rally my lone dog, here I move him behind, and I turn around those guys to shoot at the feudal, starting to do wounds. So we will see what I can do. I'm in big trouble. I'm already seeing an opportunity with the way the feudal are positioned. He cannot really wheel easily because of the archer. It's like blocking himself. So I already feel if I do a good reform, I could be far enough away from the Resplendent to maybe be safe with the Death Star until I can bring some reinforcement from the top. And the Giant also making a breakthrough on up top. So we will see what I can do. In the magic phase, I got card number 1, which was a bad news because I needed as much buff as possible to protect my Death Star. He dispelled Hereditary, I got +1 resilience, and he dispelled Smite. And then the Giant, close combat, the Giant just kill him with the impact, the last wound, and overrun on a 6 on them. They passed the panic check, so that was fine. And then the Death Star, I kill only 2. he killed only 1 because he's not good anymore after the first the charge. So he did only 1. I won by a lot because of the 2 rank banner, standard bearer, and so on. He just fled, but I had to restrain. I cannot pursue and then get charged. So I had to restrain and reform in the way that I told you to make the charge of the feudal impossible. His turn 3, so basically after my reform he had a charge here on 11. He had the charge here on 11. Charge here on the 7, I guess. And I basically had to allow that, because if I would flee from the Resplendent, first of all, I'm going to lose so many woods through the impossible that I might even rally on half leadership. Second of all, I might just, if I end up right here, I can save points. That may be something I would have done in a tournament, team tournament, but basically I have no way of winning anymore this game. So I decided to hold, and he made the 11. So 11 in, here as well, 7 in, and he just failed that one on the Tuscus. So, annoying. Then he moved Naiads with light troop, march to chaff my Tuscus, and at the same time the Bombardier, which makes sense. As you saw, last round I kill only 1 Feudal Knight. Push with the mage here to try to kill my dog. They come again out of in the board. And those guys rallied, so as you saw, the Edge Knight that killed 4 bruises even managed to rally and give me 0 points. So that was very frustrating for me. In the Magic Phase, I Binding Scroll, we rolled 2 hits. I Dispel Distracting, he got +2 weapon skill. The Giant, I made him test on -5, so he just fled off the board. And I think, turn around, we'll see. And this close combat, yeah, I killed the guy in the flank, so that was fine. And here he did so many wounds to me. I was losing by a lot. I was on +1, so I fled against the Resplendent. I flee on 3 dice. He pursued on 3 dice. I felt if I manage to escape, I can still do a little something in this game because of the Giant winning the strong flank. Here failing that charge, I can get rid of them, use the chaff to chaff them. If I rally those guys behind the Impassable, because the Resplendent would be facing an Impassable, I could be okay. I could still save something. I could still try some stuff. But unfortunately, just catch a Death Star, and that's the end, because there is nothing more to play. It's just a matter of time before he takes those points. So I just can move away, but he's still winning very big because he took the Death Star. It's going to be a big win. So we just stopped here. Post-game analysis. I deployed to try to win the center. Maybe a strong flank, weak flank approach would have been better. I will show you after on the graph how it looks like. His number of resources chaff gave him a lot of charge option. Hard for me to deal with everything. I didn't found options to get rid of the Naiads and then without committing my big units. So I found it a complicated matchup. Like I said, didn't find a way to deal with Naiad. Turn 2 KOE. I still think he took some risk here. Definitely the combo charge on my Tuscus at the bottom of the map, I think it's very risky. Because if he bounces, it's another game. I mean, he's going to lose units on the left. Me charging the Resplendent. Wow, that's huge. So I think it's a very risky combo charge. Should have used the Binding Scroll to try to make the Edge Knight bounce by just binding +1 strength, dispelling, distracting, and allowing him to get like +2 reroll to hit. He had already. Just get him +2 weapon skill. Didn't matter so much. I still don't think that I can with... I had like 10 strength 6 attack plus 5 strength 7 attack plus couple strength 5 and strength 4 attack. I still think it's very unlikely that I can kill 9 wounds in the first round. So I think it was probably the right choice to keep the Binding Scroll because it didn't matter much. Turn 2 KOE. I'm still asking myself, if he failed the Edge Knight charge against my Death Star, how would have he chaff me? I don't think that he can chaff the Great Khan. Can he chaff the whole unit? I'm not sure as well, because it's not a big movement. I think he has 14, maybe 16. But I still have doubt he could have chaffed me properly if he failed that charge. I don't know. Regarding my lists, yeah, I have a scary magic, but high variance. I did nothing round 1 and 2 with damage, And then when I was in combat, I didn't have so many buffs at my disposal. I missed like the +1 to hit or -1 to hit from Break the Spirit. I continue to like Bombardiers. I think they were quite good. I should have used them against the Edge Knight that were really, really dangerous in combat. And the Edge Knight, yeah, just really surprised me. They are really powerful on the chart. It's 334 and 18 attack, battle focus, 8 read, strength 5. Wow, I feel that's really good. That's really good, especially the fact that they can also be light troop with movement 16. They can just move back, move sideways, 16, all they want. I felt that's really good. That's really, really good. Forgetting about the Vanguard on Heralding Steed cost me a little bit bottom. Yeah, it didn't matter so much at the end, so that's a little point. Okay, guys, about the deployment before I end the video. What I could have potentially done is put all the Tuskers all in my strong flank, put the Bombardier and the Giant in my weak flank, move the Death Star maybe closer to the Impassable, and then those guys slightly to the left. So just to tell him, I'm going to try to block you on the left, shoot you, insert my Giant or zone with the Giant, and then strong flank to push a bit more. Maybe I would have need to, my concern was also to get the BSB to everybody, so maybe I would have need to be 3 wide here and 4 wide here. I don't know if it's better to push or not, but that could have been an option, to be honest. That could have made sense, I guess, because when you get push against the Tuskers, it's sometimes hard to move back, and I was in trouble here on the bottom of the map. Okay, that's it for this battle report. I hope you liked it. Well done to my opponent. Beat me very well, so well done to him. And talk to you soon on the channel. Bye bye.